If I made an art piece to monetize and thus support myself, I can't expect my 4 subscribers to offer big bucks for it, so I need as broad of an audience as possible to survive my capitalist dystopia. So I can't make a niche story to support myself. But should I even aspire to one day have a story few people can relate to? I could write about, say, my queer identity, which would be personal and resonating, but I'd alienate most of my potential audience. Because it is just potential audiences. I need people aware of my art things and willing to pay for them. Sure, there might be enough of an audience out there that likes all the things that I like in the same way and to the same capacity, and also English speaking, that's also financially available to support me, but how are they gonna find me? There's so much out there with much more advertising and people hyped for it. So I think in terms of art creation, instead of asking, does the artistic value of a piece of entertainment matter more than how unchallenging it is? How about, will audiences invest in an artistic product that's challenging when they only have so much free time? And should I invest my just as limited time and energy into making something that isn't widely enjoyable if no one's gonna buy it? Guess we'll never know, since it's when I realize I don't have enough to say for a full video. Moving on to... You know how American dollar bills have the faces of old white dudes? Well, in 2015, the $10 bill was going to be changed to feature one of several women, such as Harriet Tubman and Rosa Parks, to replace the original portrait of some obscure guy who married into a slave-only family and assisted them in the trade of those trafficked humans, and that guy was Alexander Hamilton. This decision was revoked the next year. Wonder why? Thanks, Miranda. Congratulations. Turns out your actions have consequences, including your artistic ones, as fiction influences reality. For example, spiders. How many see a spider and think, oh, I gotta kill it before it kills me? But what are the chances of actually dying from one? Has a spider ever attacked you or anybody you know? Does this animal deserve to die? But spiders are often monsters to be killed in fiction, which leads to people thinking the same in reality. Okay, I don't know how many monster designers actively think of animal conservation when they make a spooky spider, but let's go back to Hamilton, specifically the musical by Lin-Manuel Miranda, who did his research and chose to gloss over the slavery of literally most of the cast. A brief mention of Jefferson's slaves appears for a snide remark, but not the fact that he had sex with his 14-year-old slave. That'd be too much of a downer for our valiant heroes of America. Buddy, if such an important part of your characters' lives goes against the inclusivity that your whole play is built on, why are you using these characters? Why them, and not any of the actual black historical figures who deserve acknowledgement? Why do we get attached to awful people just because we like a personal interpretation of them? Is it healthy to keep engaging with a story that'll never give you what you want? Maybe it's alright, maybe it's even pretty great, but it doesn't satisfy a certain itch. A queer-baited romance that's got you hook, line, and sinker. A found family theme that's lost over time. A character that means the world and all the heavens to you, but has been utterly ditched. Is this okay? Sure, there's fan works, there's always fan works, but does it deserve it? Does it deserve your labors of love that will make others curious for the series that you've accidentally overesteemed? There are benefits to this. Taking a popular character and associating them with a marginalized group normalizes the group and creates a welcome environment for marginalized fans to express their unique relationship to the story. Also, you get to find and block fans who value their nerd credibility over representation because they're too busy worshiping canon to realize its problems. Or they're fully aware of the problems but don't care and don't want politics in their isolated bubble of privilege. What I'm saying is people who do that make them easier to avoid in the future. Sucks that you have to see that bigotry in the first place that could have been avoided if canon was inclusive in the first place. Because it turns out, fandom isn't activism. A lot of people are fans of that milquetoast wizard thing, and those fans who took the time writing inclusive headcanons for it were too in their heads to see the signs. Just because the story kills the wizard stand-in for Hitler doesn't negate the anti-Semitism and general biological essentialism in the rest of it. A story having good parts doesn't mean it's good. Same as people are nuanced beings capable of good and bad. Saying, yeah, it's bad, but it has good qualities gives a spotlight to something that might not deserve it. Chances are it's been done elsewhere by someone less awful who needs it more. Watch Owl House, folks. Or just read one of the thousands of webcomics out there. Oh yeah, subjective versus objective. Anybody else get the vibe that only capitalists and their bootlickers like the idea that art can be objectively measured? Like using the sales number of something to prove the quality? And just, if there is an objective grading sheet for artistic perfection out there, 1, it would either be made by humans or by technology made by humans, that no matter what would be based on criteria that was decided by people with all of their biases. If white people make it, then their particular music theory will be deemed better than others. And 2, the moment that sheet is known, then all art must conform to be profitable and all deviations will be underfunded since no one wants to support something that doesn't make them all the money, which we already try to do from market research. It's the rationality of there's nothing wrong with the system, and if it doesn't work for you, then you're wrong, and you need to accommodate it, which is super neoliberal. I know freedom is scary because it means the potential to make mistakes, so submitting yourself to some higher power gives you certainty in life. But in art, there are no mistakes, just happy accidents. Oh yeah, the objectivist mindset is part of the authoritarian personality, which leads to fascism. That explains the capitalism thing because it's all about the unquestioning support of hierarchies. Speaking of capitalism, that alienation between artist and audience thing I mentioned. That. You can't casually make art, you have to profitize it or don't do it at all. No hobbies, just another job. If you aren't working and making money, you're unproductive. The worst sin in the eyes of capitalism. Get those views and likes or you're nothing. Make things for YouTube so it can have a monopoly on video hosting platforms. Be a good little cog in the machine. Artists are supposed to comply with the system, right? So, being a content creator sucks. What about the people who engage in content? What can they do? Well, they can't critique art or question the ethics of financially supporting deplorable things like oppression and abuse. That makes companies sad. But they can buy things. You want to have agency as an audience? Then speak with your money. Consume or don't consume. Those are your only options. Don't like something? Boycott it. Not like it's gonna do anything since so many people are just gonna pay for it anyway. Like, Blizzard banned those Hong Kong protesters in compliance with the Chinese government, which fully goes against that freedom of speech reactionaries bring up to defend slurs and perfect pandering. But I'm still gonna buy Overwatch 2. Or there's that whole worker abuse at CD Red, but the customer would rather have the developer suffer more if that means getting the game sooner. Even talking about the issue just gives it engagement. There is no ethical consumption, and all you are is a consumer. Wow, voting with your dollar is as effective as actually voting. November, am I right? Good to know we averted the fascists this time. Because 4 years ago, we tried to avoid it, and this gerrymandered, voter-suppressive country said no. Tried again, and it worked. But I don't know how. Maybe because the idea of another term of this scared us into action, or because of the literal global pandemic that drastically altered life as we know it. So it makes it hard to celebrate when you feel like it was completely out of your hands. That's what art feels like. Things happen and you don't know why it does or doesn't work out. They both involve a lot of begging for people to care about things in the hopes that they'll be able to do something. Please vote for a minimum wage increase and become a patron so I can afford to live. A bit late for that now. But you keep trying. Experiment with your style and activism. See what sticks and what doesn't. Sometimes you even get a personal connection. When saving a drowning person, they will try to push you below water in an attempt to save themselves. It's often unintentional, but they're desperate. And right now we're in a downpour of despair. Wade through it if you can to help others out, but don't dive in lest it consumes you. To be honest, I only made this because I had too much already scripted. Plus, gotta remind YouTube's exhausting algorithm that I'm still here while I work on things I actually want to do. It's coming along nicely. Another rewrite video. Gonna love it. Anyway, go yell at your government officials to help Armenians, help disabled and indigenous people financially support themselves, and help us all. Bye.